This is a presentation on an eventually perfect failure detector on add channels using a cluster-based algorithm. This algorithm uses clusters to improve the complexity of the size of messages sent in the network. It is structured as a series of superpositioned layers to provide clarity for the distinct operations of the algorithm and to keep track of shared variables. This algorithm was also simulated to reveal performance characteristics based on varying network topologies. The primary result of this work is the development of a new cluster-based algorithm for an eventually perfect failure detector on add channels. The complexity of this algorithm is an improvement upon the best previous implementation, which is En log n down to En, where E is the number of edges in the network and N is the number of nodes in the network. Additionally, simulation results reveal the algorithm's performance in terms of time to convergence. An eventually perfect failure detector, otherwise known as Diamond P, is an oracle that eventually provides only correct information about crashed processes. This is characterized in terms of both strong completeness and eventual strong accuracy. Strong completeness is that every crashed process is suspected eventually by every other process, and eventual strong accuracy is that no correct process is suspected after some finite prefix. This oracle is of interest because it is both powerful in that it can solve many useful problems such as consensus, and it is realistically implementable. This algorithm is built on top of a communication channel called an average delayed drop channel, which is a very weak specification defined here in terms of constants K and D, satisfying the properties that the channel does not create or duplicate messages, and for every K consecutive messages sent by P to Q, at least one is delivered within D time. Add channels were first defined and used to construct a Diamond P oracle for completely connected graphs. Other researchers built on add channels to improve the algorithm to work on arbitrarily connected networks. Finally, Vargas et al. Used time-to-live values, a technique common in networking, to improve the complexity result of a Diamond P oracle on add channels. The work described in this presentation further improves this complexity result using a clustering technique. This illustration shows the topology of how cluster nodes form an overlay network, combining leader nodes into a simpler topology, which is then used in the proof of correctness for the algorithm. The network is arbitrary, but clusters must be connected. This overlay network is the primary method of reducing the message size complexity in the algorithm because it allows information from leader nodes to travel back and forth so clusters can behave as though they are single nodes in a much smaller network. The technique of superpositioning was used to organize this new algorithm into 5 distinct layers. Superpositioning is a general technique for structuring complex algorithms. In this algorithm, each new layer augments the layers below with new features, including actions and variables, which are shown in this diagram, while preserving safety properties of the entire algorithm. Higher layers of this algorithm may read variables from lower levels, but must not modify them. The top layer of this algorithm closely follows the basic heartbeat algorithm to transmit information across the network. The layer below, the overlay network, transmits this heartbeat information across overlay nodes to leader nodes. The next 2 layers are related to deciding and disseminating leader and cluster membership information across the network. The bottom layer is a duplicate of the heartbeat algorithm on the top layer, but runs only within individual clusters. All of the shared variables in the algorithm, such as in the leader election layer shown here, are clearly identified and color-coded to demonstrate the adherence to superpositioning principles. To prove the correctness of the constructed oracle, a two-part proof was required. The first part of the proof is to show that the algorithm with clusters is an implementation of the version of the algorithm without clusters, developed by Vargas et al. This requires proving that the overlay network of the graph meets the requirements of an add channel, and also proving that entire clusters of nodes can behave as one single node. Once we can show that the algorithm is an implementation of the existing algorithm, the proof of correctness of that existing algorithm now applies to our cluster-based algorithm. In addition to a static analysis of the complexity improvement for the cluster-based algorithm, an analysis of the time to convergence was completed using a Python simulation. This simulation tested a variety of network topologies, all on 100 nodes. These 6 networks demonstrate the types of topologies tested, ranging from the extreme case of a chain of nodes to the other extreme of a completely connected graph. Other topologies tested were a chain of nodes with fully connected clusters but not fully connected leaders, connected leaders but not fully connected clusters, and then finally a graph with random topology and average connectedness. The results of the simulation compared to the non-clustered version of the algorithm are shown here. Time to convergence is measured in terms of heartbeats until there are no incorrect suspicions in the network. Each scenario was tested by beginning with one incorrect suspicion by one other node, all incorrect suspicions by one node, and then finally all incorrect suspicions by all nodes. The cluster-based algorithm performed best with the chain topology and performed similarly but slightly worse for other topologies. The primary outcome of this work is the reduction in message size complexity of the algorithm. Future work could be done to expand the hierarchy of clusters to more than 2 levels to further improve the message size complexity. Thank you for your time listening to this presentation, and please read the full paper for more information on this work.